We're committed to full throttle, look at the data, see what it tells us. How do we address it?
It is a survey that they asked everyone in the department to voluntarily take part in, but only about half of them actually took it.
Okay, Brett, the department says they're already taking steps to improve the culture.
And one of those things is meeting with officers on a more consistent basis, but also planning on releasing videos on a monthly basis. Therefore, there's a clear message. There are clear goals within the department. Now, when it comes to investigating any claims of discrimination, Police Chief Teresa Thigis admitted that it might be a little bit more difficult to navigate.
I'm very optimistic about having some meaningful changes.
Whether it's community interactions and engagement.
This is a great first step for the department.
Or improving officers' wellness.
Good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl.
Like adding a police therapy dog.
Hope you got an opportunity to meet Stella.
These are the highlights on the Cincinnati Police Department's latest cultural assessment, where the department wants to see how officers are feeling on the job.
I mean, some encounters are great encounters, and then sometimes the encounters are not good encounters. And there's stress behind that.
And when it comes to looking at the data, the chief was saying that they may have to rely on internal investigations, but also rely on some collaboration with both the FOP and the Sentinels, and therefore they could find the best possible solution to improve the culture with Cincinnati.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here, folks. You guys are awesome. What did you think about those Cincinnati cops? They really are the feelings police, you guys. I mean, I think they're going to start calling on each other. You know, like some cop's going to be in the break room eating, and then a bunch of cops are going to burst in and be like, hey, we got a call. Got a call? What? Yeah, some other cop was feeling a certain way about some things. So show me your ID. No, just kidding. All right, let's get serious. Now, this next cop, he was feeling a certain way, if you know what I mean.
2 at 10 and only on 2. A second man has come forward with shocking claims against a Houston urban park ranger.
That's right. The man says 33-year-old Joey Lamar Ellis demanded he either give him sex or cash to avoid being arrested. Devin Clark joining us now from Cullen Park, where the man says all of this happened to him twice.
The man you're about to hear from says this used to be a place where he could come, run, work out, clear his mind. But now he says it triggers memories of a series of traumatic events that he still finds hard to believe.
This is like traumatizing. Like, my life would never be the same, ever.
This man, who asked not to be identified, is the second alleged victim of Houston urban park ranger Joey Lamar Ellis to come forward. His story begins early April in Cullen Park after the man says he was getting ready to leave after a workout when Ellis did the unthinkable.
He ended up stopping me. I was at my car and he was like, you trespassing, your car going to be towed. You're not supposed to be out here.
The man says Ellis made him pull his pants down, demanded his license, and threatened to take him to jail unless he did one of two things.
He told me, you could suck this, you know what, or you could pay me.
The man says he reluctantly paid Ellis some $260.
He had like a holster, like a gun holster.
Out of fear, the man says he did not report the first incident. When he returned to the park a few weeks later, he says he ran into Ellis again.
He was like, you already know the routine. I told you not to be out here. One or two things, you know, basically what he told me the first time.
But this time, the man says he was able to get away, but Ellis didn't back down.
So I jumped the curb and I drove off. As I attempted to drive off, he was following my car, like on the highway, like speed, and then he tried to sideswipe me and everything to get me to pull over.
He tells us he eventually lost Ellis. Now, he says he found the strength to file a report with HPD after hearing another man came forward with a similar story earlier this month, leading Ellis to be charged in that case with felony official oppression.
I just left it alone, but then somebody else spoke up, so I just hope that others would speak up.
Houston police are hoping for the same, asking for any other potential victims to come forward. At last check, Ellis was in the Harris County Jail and is scheduled to be in court tomorrow. We reached out to his employer, but so far have not heard back.
You know, I'm not a drinking man, but I would rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. You know, like cops have when they become cops. That's right. And you can see how dumb they are if you watch the Bad Apple Report in every aspect and in every way. But just imagine a cop with a frontal lobotomy getting into phlebotomy. That's right. If that don't make your blood boil, well, they'll just draw it and see if there's any reason for that. Why not? It should be making your blood boil.
If someone is pulled over for suspected of a DUI, they could be taken to a hospital for a blood test.
But soon, in certain areas, police officers will be the ones taking the blood sample. Ireland Viscount learned about this. She joins us now. Ireland?
Valerie, Alicia, Pennsylvania now joins 22 other states by offering training for police officers to become phlebotomists. Officials say in Pennsylvania, about 40,000 people are arrested every year for a DUI.
A lot of those require blood draw if there's drugs suspected.
And for some, depending on the location of the arrest,
they have a significant drive time to the hospital or the medical facility where they're going to draw the blood.
Haggerty says when a police officer arrives at the medical facility, many times they are faced with a significant wait
for an available phlebotomist to draw blood. And then they have forced with drive time back to their station for further processing before the impaired driving suspect is ultimately released or arraigned.
In an effort to cut down on that time and help keep roads and communities safer, the Pennsylvania DUI Association is partnering with WellSpan Health to train police officers to draw your blood when impairment is expected.
This is a science, and that's how I view it. There's nothing like going in and when you're prosecuting a case saying this is irrefutable evidence that will lead and enhance to a prosecution and conviction.
With the prevalence of drug-impaired driving, it's known that a lot of drugs dissipate very quickly in the person's blood, specifically marijuana. Delta-9 THC dissipates very quickly in human blood to very low and sometimes non-detectable limits. And getting blood drawn closer to the time of actual driving provides a more accurate and reliable toxicology specimen for prosecutorial purposes.
This also requires less support and resources from hospital emergency departments. Instead of the officer taking you to a hospital to get your blood drawn, you will be taken to the police station.
It is important to note that phlebotomists will remain available for DUI draws at healthcare systems across the Commonwealth. It is also important to reiterate that NMS labs will continue to handle the testing aspect just as it is now.
In Pennsylvania, for DUI arrests is either a breathalyzer or having your blood drawn, but some counties like York mandate blood only. The Cumberland County DA says they almost exclusively use blood.
Well, that's a new thing. So basically, all you folks with widespread panic stickers on the back of your car, you better get rid of those quick, or a cop's going to feel like if you like that type of music, you might need to get stuck, if you know what I mean. But, you know, back to business as usual for cops. If they feel like your windows are too dark, they might want to break them out, yank you out of the car, and beat the crap out of you.
Rochester police releasing body camera footage today of a traffic stop, one that prompted a claim of police brutality.
A community activist group claims the cops went too far. The encounter happening on Dale Street off of Joseph Avenue. The police chief now reviewing the video. 13 WAM's Carly Miner has more tonight. Carly, good evening.
Good evening, Karen, Stephen. The group Save Rochester says the driver, 22-year-old Marvin Taylor, has no criminal record and claims he is the latest victim of racist police misconduct. Rochester police say just before 2 p.m. on May 7th, officers spotted a car on Morrill Street with an expired New York State inspection sticker. While running the plates, police say the officers witnessed the driver, Marvin Taylor, turning onto Remington Street and then Dale Street without signaling, and then didn't stop immediately when they tried to pull him over. On the body-worn camera video, you can hear officers tell the driver several times to roll down the back windows because of the car's dark tint.
Roll down your back window. Because you weren't pulling over. Roll down your back window now.
Police say Taylor refused and then rolled up his driver's side window.
What are you doing? You're doing too much. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. I'm going to break your window. Get out of the car.
Why are you going to break my window?
Taylor also recording the exchange with his cell phone as officers pull him out of the car and handcuff him.
Why are you going to break my window?
The group Save Rochester says Marvin Taylor is a victim of police brutality here in Rochester. Rochester Police Chief David Smith says a department review is currently underway into this incident. In a written statement, Chief Smith says in part, quote, "Situations like these in which a motorist refuses a reasonable direction to lower the windows creates an unsafe situation for everyone involved. Cooperation from the motorist would easily have prevented this incident from escalating." Taylor was ticketed for not using a turning signal, driving without a valid inspection, and obstruction of governmental administration. We reached out to him for comment on this report, but have not heard
Columbus
back.
Police Chief Elaine Bryant says about 5 hours before this shooting, police officers were called for a wellness check. One of Hernandez's neighbors made that call, and when the officers arrived, now these were different officers than who responded to the shooting. There was no threat, they said, and Hernandez said to officers he was just tired. Chief Bryant says the officers did write a referral for Hernandez for their mobile crisis response team for the next day. I'm going to walk you through the police video now. I will warn you, some of it could be hard to watch.
He's on foot, just walking up to random people's car, making threats.
What kind of threats is he making?
I can't really understand him because it's like he doesn't really know much English.
This is one of multiple 911 calls alerting Columbus police of a man with a weapon on Georgesville Road Monday night. Police say they got to the scene around 11:25 p.m. They say they see a man who we now know as Noel Hernandez standing outside his car holding what they are calling an edged weapon.
Manos arriba!
This means hands up in Spanish. You can hear police yell that to Hernandez both in Spanish and in English several times. Police say he doesn't listen and instead he gets in his car and drives away. Video shows police try to stop him. He gets out of the car with the weapon, then gets back in and keeps driving. Police say this happened several times. Hernandez does get out of the car at Sullivan Avenue and Industrial Mile. 5 officers follow and surround him. Officers are yelling "Manos arriba," which means, again, hands up in Spanish. At this point, officers try to deploy their tasers, one while Hernandez is faced backward, the second when he turns to approach. Neither taser worked to stop him. This is when police say Hernandez advances at them again. You can see him holding his weapon in the air. We're going to stop the video here. All 5 officers fire at Hernandez. We heard at least 13 gunshots in about 3 seconds. Officers quickly start to render aid on Hernandez. Today, we asked Columbus police why there had been no mental health response on the scene.
So what I will tell you is that at that particular moment, MCR was not working at the time.
Situations like this, where it's fast evolving and is a violent situation, we do not bring in our clinicians until we've secured the scene.
According to the Columbus City website, the Columbus Police Mobile Crisis Response Unit's hours are from 10 a.m. to midnight. Chief Bryant said their officers are all trained in crisis response. This shooting is being investigated by Ohio BCI.
Okay, folks, so if you're having a crisis, make sure it's between 10 a.m. and midnight. Otherwise, you're just going to get the execution squad instead of the mental health squad. Okay, we're going to wrap up the Bad Apple Report with one final super bad apple. And, this episode was about the feelings police. Well, this cop, he was only 23 or 24 years old. Talk about the feelings police. He was really feeling a certain way, and he did a real bad thing, and he was convicted of it. And he's going to be sentenced. And he'll probably spend the rest of his life in jail.
Stay on top of that breaking news out of Gwinnett County, where just hours ago, a jury found a former police officer guilty for the murder of a 16-year-old girl. 23-year-old Miles Bryant will spend the rest of his life behind bars, now convicted of malice murder in the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales. This is a case we've been following since the teenager vanished in July of 2022. Her remains were found months later in Decula. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live tonight from outside the Gwinnett County Courthouse. So, Cody, is this verdict bringing some relief to the Morales family?
Well, Ron, in some ways, yes, but trials are tough. Her family had to sit inside the courtroom behind me and listen to some gruesome details about her final moments. And at the same time, sitting just feet behind a man at once in his life took an oath of office to protect his community. Tonight, convicted of killing an innocent young girl.
We, the jury, found the defendant guilty.
It took just a little over 5 hours. A verdict Susana Morales' family has been waiting nearly 2 years to hear. Susana's sister, Jasmine Perez.
All we ever wanted was justice for what happened to her.
Knowing no matter how many years Bryant serves,
nothing will ever bring her back to this day. I still hope that I'll see her again.
While they finally got justice, their lives will never be the same. A mother experiencing the worst heartbreak any parent can endure.
There's not a night that I don't go to bed thinking about her because I miss her so much.
A mother who never gave up fighting for her daughter.
Only after we found her, I promised her that we were going to have justice.
A promise she asked the judge to help her keep.
Judge, and I just want him to receive every day that he can because she was a good girl, a happy girl, and she didn't deserve that.
The judge hinting before sentencing, this mother's quest for justice has finally paid off.
I just hope that after today, you and your family can find some peace. That is what I wish for you. Hopefully, you will receive some peace now.
You can tell the judge, even heartbroken by all of this, just moments after saying that, she sentenced Bryant to life without the possibility of parole. Now, Bryant did address the courtroom very briefly, saying he's sorry, and his defense attorneys tell us they do plan to appeal and ask for a new trial.
And with that, we're going to wrap up the Bad Apple Report. We're going to call it a day. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really do appreciate it. And let's just go about our day and let's just trust cops. Let's trust that they have our best interest in mind, okay? And that everything we're doing here on the Bad Apple Report is just an anomaly. It's just a very rare situation. But most of them are good, right? See you tomorrow.